Have you ever wondered what happened to the cast of Who's the Boss after the series ended? While some continued to shine, others disappeared and were never seen again. In the list below, you'll be surprised to learn that 14 familiar actors passed away under heartbreaking circumstances you couldn't imagine. Let's remember them and honor their legacy. Let's go. Katherine Helmond as Mona Robinson. Catherine Marie Helmond was born on July 5, 1929 in Galveston, Texas, USA. She was 55 years old when she joined Who's the Boss in 1984, but it was her role as Mona Robinson, a bold, mischievous mother who was never afraid to break the norm, that made her a pop culture icon. Throughout the show's 8 seasons, Catherine was the lifeblood of witty, energetic dialogue and often the only one bold enough to respond to every character with warmth and charm. She died on February 23, 2019, at her home in Los Angeles at the age of 89, after a long battle with Alzheimer's disease. Her death was announced nearly a week later. At the time of her death, Catherine Helmond's estimated net worth was around $5 million. Largely from her iconic roles in Soap, Coach, Everybody Loves Raymond, and especially the animated series Cars, where she voiced Lizzie for over a decade. In her personal life, she was briefly married to George N. Martin from 1959 to 1962, before finding peace with her second husband, David Christian, from 1969 until her death. They had no children but had a strong bond, living together in New York, Long Island, Los Angeles, and even London. In addition to acting, the two practiced meditation and studied Zen Buddhism together. As she grew older, as Alzheimer's began to eat away at her memory, Helmond gradually withdrew from the spotlight. Although time has taken her away, Mona Robinson's mischievous winks and clever lines remain. James Coco as Nick Milano. James Emile Coco was born on March 21, 1930 in Little Italy, Manhattan, New York. Who was boss when he joined? In 1985, at the age of 55, he played Nick Milano, Tony Michelli's gruff but warm father. Although he only appeared in a few episodes, James Coco's natural charm and sharp expressions helped him portray an emotional father with a unique sense of humor. Just 2 years later, on February 25, 1987, James Coco breathed his last breath at St. Vincent's Hospital in Manhattan, after suffering a heart attack, passing away at the age of 56. His final appearance on Who's the Boss had aired exactly 1 day earlier, poignantly. He was buried at St. Gertrude Catholic Cemetery in New Jersey, where many fans later paid their respects. Despite an illustrious career that included dozens of stage and film roles, James Coco never amassed the vast fortunes of many of his peers. His net worth was estimated at just $2 million at the time of his death. His personal life was tumultuous and largely private. A gay man in a time of prejudice, his true identity was not revealed until nearly a decade after his death. He never married, had no children, and kept his personal life largely private, except for moments in interviews when he hinted at loneliness or personal struggles. James struggled with his weight throughout his life, which contributed to his signature physical comedy but also took a toll on his health. In 1983, he published The James Coco Diet, chronicling his determined weight loss journey. Although he has been gone for more than 3 decades, the laughter he left behind through each role is still there, reminding us that sometimes the shortest lives are the most brilliant. Leslie Nielsen as Max Muldoon. Leslie William Nielsen was born on February 11, 1926 in Regina, Saskatchewan, Canada, the second son of a Danish police officer and a Welsh mother. He was 61 when he appeared in Who's the Boss in 1987. Playing Max Muldoon, a brief cameo that was enough to make the audience laugh with his trademark humor. Nielsen had previously been a great leading man in Forbidden Planet and The Poseidon Adventure, but it was his deadpan comedic roles in Airplane and The Naked Gun that truly immortalized him to a global audience. Leslie Nielsen died on November 28, 2010 in Fort Lauderdale, Florida at the age of 84. The cause was complications from pneumonia. He died in his sleep, surrounded by family and friends. He was buried in Evergreen Cemetery, where his headstone bears the words, "A humorous farewell to the man who turned farting into a comedic art form." His net worth is estimated at $20 million. Thanks to a career spanning more than 60 years, with more than 220 roles in television and film, from classic to whimsical, from serious to legendary. Behind the unchanging smile on screen is a tumultuous personal life. Nielsen has been through 4 marriages, 3 of which ended in divorce. His 2 daughters from his second marriage rarely appeared in public, and his relationship with his family was described as complicated and distant. He was abused by his father as a child and lived in fear. As an adult, he struggled with congenital hearing loss and had to wear a hearing aid for the rest of his life. Nielsen later suffered from arthritis and other health issues, but he continued to work and stay positive, even releasing an educational video about arthritis to help the community. And that is what made him a legend, a name that still makes people laugh with fond eyes when mentioned. Robert Mandan as Reed Hamilton. Robert Mandan was born on February 2, 1932 in Clever, Missouri, a sleepy small town that couldn't contain the ambitions of a teenage boy who loved acting. In 1991, at the age of 59, he appeared in Who's the Boss as Reed Hamilton, a mature, elegant, and charming gentleman who brought a fresh energy to the film's supporting cast. Although it was only a cameo, Mandan's performance left a deep impression with his calm demeanor and sharp eyes. Robert Mandan passed away on April 29, 2018 in Los Angeles after a long battle with cancer at the age of 86. Although he was not an A-list star, he still had an estimated net worth of $3 million thanks to decades of television work, most notably his role as Chester Tate on the long-running soap opera Soap. Behind the calm and successful exterior was a troubled personal life. Mandan married psychotherapist Sherry Dixon in 1963, but the marriage ended after years of separation. His relationship with his only son also became estranged, leaving scars that would not heal. Framed as a businessman or gentleman, Mandan struggled to break out of his own shadow, which prevented his acting career from taking off as he had hoped. However, he still made his mark in The Best Little Whorehouse in Texas, 1982, and Three's a Crowd, 1984 to 1985, proving himself to be a tenacious artist who never backed down. With his warm voice and poised demeanor, he was the kind of actor who was remembered even after only a brief appearance. James Hampton as Herb. James Wade Hampton was born on July 9, 1936 in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, USA. When he joined Who's the Boss? In 1984 as Herb, he was 48 years old, the prime age for a veteran television actor. Herb was a supporting character in that episode, but he brought his own warm atmosphere and subtle sense of humor, contributing to the brilliant tone of the classic 1980s sitcom. Although his appearance was brief, he left a lasting impression with his simple, charming performance. James Hampton passed away on April 7, 2021, at the age of 84. The cause of death was confirmed to be complications from Parkinson's disease, a progressive disease that gradually took away his mobility in his later years. Over his 50-year career, he amassed an estimated net worth of $2.5 million. Not flashy, but fitting for someone who valued family and true values. His personal life is filled with quiet melodies. After marrying actress Mary Deese in 2002, they live a quiet life with their 3 children, James, Andrea, and Frank. No scandals, no controversies. He simply loves his job and takes care of his family. Before Who's the Boss? He had starred in F Troop, 1965 and 1967 as Hannibal Dobbs, a lovable but clumsy bugler, and had broken through as a caretaker in The Longest Yard, 1974, earning him a Golden Globe nomination for Most Promising Newcomer. Though often relegated to comedic roles, Hampton never lost his passion for acting. Walter Olkowicz as Tiny McGee. Walter Olkowicz was born on May 14, 1948 in Bayonne, New Jersey, a windswept port town filled with steel and resilience. In 1987, at the age of 39, he appeared in the hit series Who's the Boss as Tiny McGee, a supporting character who left an impression with his tall stature, warm, deep voice, and lovable appearance. Although he only appeared in a few episodes, Tiny McGee was still a memorable highlight, bringing a very down-to-earth humor to the show. Walter passed away on April 6, 2021 at his home in Reseda, California at the age of 72 after a long battle with illness. In his final years, he underwent 19 knee surgeries and was largely immobile. His net worth at the time of his death was estimated at $1 million, the result of decades of quiet supporting roles in the entertainment industry. In his personal life, Olkowicz was married, but the marriage quietly ended in divorce, leaving a deep emotional void. He had a son, Zach Olkowicz, who later became a screenwriter. However, the father-son relationship was not always smooth, especially in Walter's later years, when he was lonely and ill. After leaving the industry for health reasons, he returned only once, in 2 episodes of Twin Peaks in 2017 as a way to close out his career. The life of Walter Olkowicz is the story of a supporting actor who never sought the limelight, but left behind a legacy of kindness and sincerity that audiences will never forget. Vito Scotti as Uncle Aldo. Vito Giusto Scozzari, known professionally as Vito Scotti, was born on January 26, 1918 in San Francisco, California. With a strong Italian heritage, he quickly became one of the most familiar and exotic faces on both the small and big screens for over 50 years. In 1989, at the age of 71, he appeared in the hit sitcom Who's the Boss, playing Uncle Aldo, Tony Michelli's Italian uncle. Although he only appeared in 1 episode, Vito's quirky mannerisms and Italian accent made the character unforgettable to television audiences. Vito Scotti died on June 5, 1996 in Los Angeles, California at the age of 78. The cause of death was determined to be lung cancer, a disease that had plagued him in the last years of his life. His body was cremated and his ashes were interred at Forest Lawn Memorial Park, the resting place of many Hollywood legends. With over 200 roles, he left behind an estimated net worth of $1 million, largely due to his tenacity and versatility in acting, especially on television. Vito Scotti's personal life was private but colorful. He married actress Beverly Tyler in 1954, and they lived happily together until her death in 2005, nearly a decade after his. They had a son, Riccardo Scotti, who later became a sound engineer in the film industry. Vito later made a strong impression with his roles as an eccentric sushi restaurant owner in The Godfather Part 3, 1990, and a reluctant priest in Curb Your Enthusiasm. Although he often played supporting roles, Vito Scotti was never just a supporting character. Dennis Berkley as Pee-wee. Dennis Henry Berkley was born on September 10, 1945 in Los Angeles, California, and grew up in Grand Prairie, Texas. In 1986, at the age of 41, Berkley appeared on Who's the Boss as Pee-wee, a supporting character with a large frame and scraggly beard, but a warm heart and a genuine sense of humor. Although he only appeared in a few episodes, he quickly won the hearts of the audience with his simple, friendly demeanor, like a good neighbor in the community. Dennis Berkley passed away on July 14, 2013 at the age of 67 after a heart attack in Los Angeles. His death came suddenly but peacefully, capping a career spanning more than 40 years in film and television. Over the course of his career, Berkley appeared in over 100 films and television shows, with an estimated net worth of $1.2 million, a modest sum, but well worth it for the passionate roles he played. His personal life was quiet but no less interesting. He was married to Laura Alderdice in 1967 and had 2 children. He stayed away from scandals, but Berkeley struggled with obesity, partly due to genetics and partly due to a sedentary lifestyle in middle age. His large stature often left him relegated to comic or quirky supporting roles, like the bulldozer in 1985's Mask or the bumbling sidekick in 1989's Fletch Lives. And though the spotlight has dimmed, Dennis Berkeley's name lives on in the memories of those who loved King of the Hill, Mask, and the raw moments in Who's the Boss. Vincent Schiavelli as motel manager. Vincent Andrew Schiavelli was born on November 11, 1948, in Brooklyn, New York, to a family of Sicilian descent. In 1985, at the age of 37, he appeared in a brief but memorable supporting role in Who's the Boss, playing the motel manager. With his long, melancholy face and eyes that were both sad and mischievous, Schiavelli brought to the plays a quirky, humorous, yet unpredictable tone, like a breath of fresh air that kept the audience on their toes. He died on December 26, 2005, in his ancestral home of Polizzi Generosa in Sicily at the age of 57. The cause was lung cancer. Notably, he chose to return to his roots, the very land he wrote so movingly about in his book, Many Beautiful Things, to spend his final days and rest in peace. The funeral was held simply in a small cemetery on the mountain overlooking the old town. His net worth is estimated at $1.8 million, largely from his iconic supporting roles as the subway ghost in Ghost, 1990, biology teacher Mr. Vargas in Fast Times at Ridgemont High, 1982, and assassin Dr. Kaufman in Tomorrow Never Dies, 1997. In his personal life, Vincent was married twice. His first marriage to actress Alice Beasley lasted 3 years, and they had a son, composer Andrea Schiavelli. His second marriage to harpist Carol Sue McCallion was more lasting until his death. Although Vanity Fair once named him one of America's greatest actors, Schiavelli's life was not easy. He suffered from Marfan syndrome, a genetic disorder that affects his bones and cardiovascular system, leaving him thin and physically frail. At times, illness, alienation, and 2 divorces caused him to retreat into himself, seeking solace in cooking and childhood memories. When he passed away, he left behind the image of an artist who loved his profession, loved his heritage, and lived true to himself until his last breath. Franklin Cover as Mr. Campbell. Franklin Edward Cover was born on November 20, 1928, in Cleveland, Ohio, when he joined the film Who's the Boss? In 1991, he was 63 years old and played the supporting role of Mr. Campbell, a serious character who appears briefly but leaves an impression with his professorial demeanor, adding depth to the film's supporting cast. Before that, he was already a familiar face on American television, known for his calm and intelligent demeanor, which suited the role very well. Franklin Cover died on February 5, 2006, at the Lillian Booth Actors Home in Englewood, New Jersey at the age of 77. He died of pneumonia while recovering from heart failure just weeks after moving to the facility. With a career spanning nearly 50 years, his net worth is estimated at $1.5 million. Not a huge amount, but enough to reflect a steady and respectable acting career. Franklin lived a quiet, private life. He married Mary Bradford Stone in 1965, and the two were together for the rest of their lives. They had no children and were rarely seen together in public. The pressures of television work may have led him to a more private, quiet life. After The Jeffersons, 1975-1985, he appeared in The Stepford Wives, 1975, played politician Hubert Humphrey in the television film A Woman Called Golda, 1982, and had a supporting role in the blockbuster Wall Street, 1987. These roles prove that he is a versatile and enduring actor in the entertainment industry. Pat Buttram as Chappie. Pat Buttram, whose full name is Maxwell Emmett Buttram, was born on June 19, 1915 in Addison, Alabama, a rural area where he grew up, the son of a Methodist minister. In 1990, at the age of 75, he appeared in Who's the Boss as Chappie, a brief supporting role that was notable for his distinctive high-pitched voice, which made the character both funny and endearing. The small part serves as a reminder of the comedy icon he once was, albeit one that is no longer in the limelight as it was in his prime. Pat Buttram died on January 8, 1994, at the age of 78, at UCLA Medical Center due to kidney failure. After more than half a century in the entertainment industry, he was buried at Maxwell Chapel United Methodist Church Cemetery near Haleyville, Alabama. With over 40 films under his belt, Buttram has an estimated net worth of $1 million, mostly from his voice work in animated films and television. His personal life was not as riveting as his acting. His first marriage to Dorothy McFadden ended in divorce, although the couple adopted a daughter. It wasn't until 1952 that he found true love when he married actress Sheila Ryan. They had a daughter, Catherine, born in 1954. But even that happiness didn't last forever. Sheila died in 1975, leaving a huge void in his life. It was then that Pat began to retreat and live a quieter life, away from Hollywood. He continued to act in projects like The Aristocats, The Rescuers, and even voiced a role in a Goofy movie, which was released posthumously, but spent most of his time back home in Alabama. Although his career never reached its peak, he received 2 stars, one on the Hollywood Walk of Fame and one on the Alabama Stars of Fame, becoming an integral part of American popular culture. Earl Bowen Jongvi Jim Peterson. Earl Bowen, born August 8, 1941 in New York City, has been a familiar face on American television for decades. He was 43 years old when he appeared on Who's the Boss? In 1984, playing Jim Peterson, Angela Bauer's stern but humorous boss. Although he only appeared in a few episodes, Bowen's professional demeanor, sharp eyes, and masterful performance made Peterson a memorable part of the popular family comedy. He died on January 5, 2023 in Honolulu at the age of 81 after being diagnosed with lung cancer in the fall of 2022. Over a career spanning more than half a century, he amassed an estimated net worth of $1.5 million, primarily from supporting roles on television and voice acting in popular video game series such as Monkey Island, World of Warcraft, and popular animated films. Earl Bowen's life was not all about art. In 1970, he married actress Carol Keane and had a daughter. But that 3-decade marriage ended in tragedy when Carol died of ovarian cancer in 2001. Leaving a huge void in his heart. After many peaceful years, Bowen remarried in 2008 to a woman named Kathy. He went through periods of emotional turmoil, especially after the loss of his first wife. However, he continued to appear regularly in projects such as The Terminator, 1984, Terminator 2, 2001, Judgment Day, 1991, Pistol 33 113, 1994, and voiced Metal Gear Solid 2. Each role was a personal journey of healing, a mark left by a man who chose to stay silent while battling the darkness within himself. Bill Irwin as Leon. William Lindsay Irwin, born December 2, 1914 in Honey Grove, Texas, is one of the veterans of American cinema and television. He was 70 when he joined Who's the Boss in 1984, playing Leon, a supporting character whose wit and humor helped to create a light and warm atmosphere for the series. Before that, he was a familiar face on television, with countless roles from classic to modern. Bill Irwin died on December 29, 2010 at the age of 96 at his home in Studio City, California. The cause of death was determined to be old age, ending a career that had spanned nearly a century. His net worth at the time of his death was estimated at $1 million, much of it accumulated from an acting career that spanned more than 60 years. In his personal life, Bill Irwin was married to actress and journalist Fran McLaughlin for nearly 5 decades, from 1948 until her death in 1995. They lived together in the Hollywood Hills and had 4 children. After his wife died, he lived alone in a small house in Studio City, devoted himself to painting and attending veteran artists' gatherings. He has admitted that balancing his career and family has been one of the biggest challenges of his life. However, he is remembered for his roles in John Hughes films such as Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, 1987, and Home Alone, 1990, establishing himself as a key supporting actor in late 20th century American comedy films.